Big L Tire out of Harrisonburg, Virginia. They really help me out. They have 5 great locations to help you out: Tappahannock, Warsaw, and a few others. Check them out on the web at bigltireco.com and 800-289-2445. We also want to thank AED Custom Graphics out of Richmond. They hooked us up with T-shirts, hats, hoodies. So that our video crew, it says video crew, and it says WWP and Woodbridge Productions. AED Customs, they can make your business stand out from the competition. From full vehicle wraps, including the new Punisher, the new Top Gun, custom banners, office signage, company logos, goal tracking, team building, graphics. The possibilities are endless. They also do bumper stickers, which are on a lot of pulling vehicles. Our bumper stickers are all over the nation. So thank you for adorning those bumper stickers and joining the Woodbridge Productions family. We appreciate it. We also want to thank the Cook Auto Group out of Colonial Heights, Virginia, as they've helped come and sponsor us. These guys pull mod 4x4 trucks in the past, and they have a new Ford coming out as well this year, and they have a 2.6 diesel truck coming out as well. Cook Auto Group is your source for Central Virginia auto sales, collision, repair, and towing. 804-451-0290. And also, lastly, I give myself a shout out, which I probably don't deserve it after this show and how it started. WWPTV, we take photos and videos, and we do so much more. Hats, hoodies, t-shirts, banners, signs, bumper stickers, calendars, polar cards, anything you need. We can help you out. Flyers for your poll, promotional stuff, video teasers. It's just amazing how far a little money will go. And we're bringing record-breaking crowds to where there's never even been a close smidgen of that many people there. We're growing these polls. We're growing these events. Why? Because they love us, and we want to help them grow, and we want them to love us. And we like to think that we're a technology partner to help out all these small polls, so we can be socially up to date and current with what's going on, and we can pass that knowledge along and help out these people who don't even have Facebook accounts. And then we post the photos and videos back on YouTube and willwit.com. I think we got the sound fixed. John, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Will. Doing great.
Good. We kind of wanted to do this conversation last week, and we recorded it. And by golly, that thing didn't work. We had a really good conversation, you and I, and technology failed us. So hopefully we can do it right this time, and we'll do it a little bit quicker than we did last time too.
Yeah, no problem. Wait a minute now. We're going to do it as fast as what Thurman did?
No. We're going to try to speed it up over Thurman speed.
Okay, I just mess with you.
No, Thurman did a great job. I will tell you.
Yes, he did.
For one whole hour, he did a fabulous job.
Yes, he did.
You pulled a Alice Chalmers 185 crop hustler back in the day called Sundance, and you've been announcing with Dragon Motorsports since. Oh my gosh, when did you start coming on board with Dragon Motorsports? When was that?
Around 2007. I had stopped pulling the tractor back in '89.
Okay.
And parked the tractor, and then, but actually that tractor's been. We sold it, and actually Kenny Louderback owns it and still pulls it up around Lou Ray Stanley area. But no, I got out of it. Things changed a little bit for me, and then I got back into pulling around 2000, messing with garden tractors, and then I came on board with Dragon Motorsports around 2007.
In 2007, and you, I think hands down, everybody loves the way and the style that you announce, and we'll get to that in just a little bit, but we're glad to have you. So welcome to the show, first and foremost. Do you miss?
Great, thank you.
Do you miss the good old days back when you pulled?
I miss some of the people that we pulled with and the memories that we had back then. What I do miss is it was like maybe once a month went to a pull instead of every weekend. Mm-hmm. But that's just the demand of the sport. I say miss it because a lot of times it was done just by making phone calls. You didn't have the internet. You had to, it was a little harder back then, and not a lot of parts available for tractors in that time period like it is now. So The only thing that I missed about it is the ease of it wasn't as easy as it is now.
Right. And a lot of times people don't realize that local polling has actually come up a lot since back in those days. You had a lot of bigger events that you were closer, but there's polling just about, if not in this county, there's one in maybe a state over or so, and you could hop in the car and find the place a little bit closer as well. So people don't really understand what it was to poll like back in the day either.
No. Virginia had several different organizations that one of the clubs that I pulled was Virginia Tractor Pullers, and another organization was Old Dominion, and then you had Tidewater Pullers that I got associated with, and me and my father did pulling with those. But if you didn't have a pull for Virginia Tractor Pullers, you went somewhere else on that weekend and pulled or had a good time. Very seldom that we went to North Carolina to go pull into the Carolinas because the rules were a little bit different. The classes that we were running in, they didn't allow cut tires. In Virginia, you could run cut tires, so we'd have to have two sets of tires and switch them out every time we went to Carolina. Then that got to be an issue, so we stopped going to Carolina.
Right. Well, it does seem like we've got a little bit more unification among the leagues, with the exception of maybe a pump here, a pump there.
Well, that was something that NTPA was big on, trying to get some of the state clubs on with NTPA and having it as a regional, and then and so you could go to one place or the other, and then it started getting bigger pools. It kind of knocking out some of the farm tractor classes, going all NTPA sanctioned classes. And when you did that, you knocked out some of the local farmers from pulling farm tractors that could, take the tractor out of the field, maybe put another turbo on it, turn up the fuel on the injection pump and go pulling.
Right.
Now, any tractor that comes out on the track now pulling, unless it's an antique tractor, it has to go through the shop through a whole modification process to go, and it'd be strictly for pulling.
Right.
And that's what we ended up having to do, take a tractor from the farm and then turn it into a tractor that was just solely for pulling.
So where do you think we're at in terms of pulling now? Now that they don't have to do that. Okay, they can set a vehicle up now they have to break it down by class. I want to run in this class, I want to run in that class. But where do you think we're at now?
Oh, I think it's, where we're at now is a whole lot better, because then you have more places to set up a vehicle to go pulling. And sometimes we're at the point now where the four-wheel drives for the classes that we have for Dragon Motorsports, let's say the 6400, that is a good class of 15 pullers, 15 competitors in the class. There's other states that run very close to what our rules are, and we kind of back and forth and just seeing there. You take some of the tractor classes, they're a lot like some of the other state classes. But for somebody to cross over, to come over to pull with us, pulling is so much more in your local pulls. So they're staying in their state, or they're staying in with their organization, where if you just said, well, we only had a pull once this month, and next month we had a pull, and you had some time off, that's when you could see, crossing the lines and coming over, other pullers coming in. But I think when somebody sets up a vehicle that goes pulling, they see where the location that they live in and what organization they want to pull with, and then go from there and build that vehicle to fit that class. The only class I know that crosses the line is some of the two-wheel drives that you'll see, and the national four-wheel drives. And not really in the smoker tractor classes, because we don't have, Dragon doesn't have, or nor does Interstate. We might have one class that can be a combo, but most of the time four-wheel drive is where you can cross the lines and go. Well, Dragon goes with NTPA rules on four-wheel drive class anyway. So.
Right. Well, we see, like, and you mentioned the Pro Stock 4x4 class. We see all kinds of vehicles over the 12 classes. But which ones are you kind of happy with, and which ones are growing, and which ones could we stand to grow a little bit more?
Well, actually, the 64 is where they are. They ought to just stay right there where they are for the 6400 Pro Street, because they're doing everything they can. And there was some talk some years back about taking that class and doing away with the Texas tires, the DOT tires, and going with cut tires. Well, if you wanted to go in that route, then there's the national class. And so we left it alone and basically took the 6,300-pound modified street. And, of course, we were seeing numbers drop in that class. They all moved up to the 64.
Right.
You have good. Now, the tractors are pretty much where, if they want to run a hot farm tractor, other than some other issues that with East Coast runs, those tractors can run there. I think some of the things of some of the safety equipment that they require for East Coast is the roll bar, the cage,
right,
and along with some skids on the front. But one of the classes that could be growing and seeded grow is the Super Pro Farm, and that is probably one of the classes that we're looking at or have been looking at about what can be done to increase the numbers of tractors.
Right.
And trying to figure, they did some things with the turbo. Really wasn't a major issue with the turbo. They just clarified some of the rules. They went with a different injection pump, which that part. And now they're looking, they're going into a new type of tire, not a radial, but a puller style tire. And I'm eager to see what's going to happen there, because there might be some tractors that are out there or been out there that was set up like this, have a set of tires. They don't want to go backwards because they see the advantage of the tire. We might see an increase, but it's not going to happen overnight. It might take another year for it to get known and then move forward from there.
And we got to see what kind of distances they can put up with those tires too, because we had the cut tires in the light Pro Stock class about a year or two before Interstate adopted it. So we really don't know what it's going to do for that class with all that power that they have.
Oh, I can tell you what it's going to do. You're going to see them definitely spinning the tires. Mm-hmm. Might be a little bit less tread on the ground, which, real speed. Mm-hmm. I think there's some tough competitors right there in that class, and I'm surely this is not their first rodeo. I believe they know all about the tires, and they're going to be able to make them work to their advantage. But gear selection might be something, the weight balance. But that's all something that anytime you make any change, those pullers will be able to adapt to it and make it work. I just like to see how the tire is going to work for them, and I think it's going to be a good thing. So.
Yeah, well, we'll see how many pullers out west that don't necessarily run with us start looking closely and say, I tell you, these guys, we might want to pay attention to that. Go ahead.
I know what you're talking about, but they're going to look at and see what goes on in that class, and that's one of the reasons why they adopted to go in that way with the tire. Mm-hmm. It's because they need something in between a farm tractor and a super stock, and that's the class that you have. You got a light super stock, what I call the light limited. Mm-hmm. That's a light super. You maybe need a little bit heavier super, so that's in the direction that they're going. So, what I would call a super. Anyway.
Dragon Motorsports, you've been with them now for 8+ years. How much further can it go, and what are some of our hurdles, I guess, that we have to deal with?
I don't know how far it can go. As long as we have the fan base still coming to the events, being able to put on a show. And some people say, you just go there and then you have an event. No, it's a show of horsepower and the sportsmanship, and everything is all, it's kind of like NASCAR. get out there and you perform. And different tracks are going to show different, different pullers will do better in different tracks, different venues.
Right.
Where we're going, the sky's the limit. It all depends on how far you want to go and, how busy you want to be during the summer.
You're right about that.
Yeah, well, we have 6 months of pulling and 6 months off season, and I think that 6 months of off season, when you're talking about from the 1st of October, pullers are trying to figure out what they want to do and what has to be done, and I don't know if they can. I know some pullers are pulling motors down, checking things, getting ordering parts and redoing motors, and it takes. If you just don't go to the auto parts store and pick up a set of pistons, custom made, different things and what's going on, and then getting it all together, and it takes time. That's where maybe the season could be shorter. Would it be beneficial for the puller, or not? Where we're going and what can make us better is we're looking. We've got San Pico again this year come on board through sponsorship, and we've got some other sponsorship with Dragon Motorsports. But that's the thing we're looking at is what we can do. One is sponsorship and being able to help the puller and help our sponsor as far as a points contingency fund and going that route. That's the main thing. That's the next hurdle that we need to cross over and go from there. When you start looking at what NTPA does, what East Coast Series does, Pro Pulling League, what they do, we're in the next step. We're in the next phase of stepping up and going in that direction.
Right.
And what is it going to take? What is it going to take to make that work? I know what it's going to take. I don't know if we're going to be able to pass that on to the pullers to get at the end of the year as your points contingency.
Well, right. And the pullers kind of have to let us know too. Well, this is where I want to run and this is what I want to do. And the rules come up every so often, what do we hold? 3-year rule, commitments.
Yes, 3 year.
Yeah.
You're trying to hold it for 3-year commitment. Yes, unless it's a safety issue and things come up from there. But yeah, normally when you're changing the rules and things, it's about a 3-year. Yes.
Right. Well, so you're right. There are some things that we can do better. And like I said, I try to help you guys out as much as possible. And I do have promoters that have told me, Will, I don't care what you do. I want the vehicles to be shiny. I prefer this puller. I prefer that puller. But I want that Dragon Motorsports logo on my poster or on my video or on whatever. Because, we've kind of built it up to be a symbol. When Dragon Motorsports is coming to town, you're going to have a quality show. And I like that idea. I love that promoters have bought into that idea. And it's going to be a show for you when we come to town.
Well, yeah, you look back, Temple and the Dragon and the pullers have been with Temple from day one, been there for, from 2000 and prior before then, been there 15, 16 years. You saw what was going on there, how it increased, the sportsmanship, the appearance. There's a gentleman that's in the tractor business, selling a tractor business, and his thing was appearance.
Mm-hmm.
What are you looking for? You want to make it, that's the appearance. And through that concept that, Temple has brainstormed off of this one person is taking that appearance and let's go to the next step.
Right.
You've seen where they had an old style sled and then they went into the bushwhacker sled, and then you've gone into the hammer sled and then now you've got the new Pioneer, when you start seeing that, the equipment, one is you're getting the newer style equipment because everybody likes the speed sled. They just don't like the old anchor pulling down the track like we had in the past of years back. They like that speed because that's what they want to see. And the people in the stands want to see that power, and they want to see that, they want to see it and feel it. And that's where we're trying to, that's where it's going to.
No, you're absolutely right.
The appearance of, and the appearance, the track crew, everything working smoothly, everything is all coming together, and it takes time to make it work. Since I've come on board, I've did what I can to help the organization. But there's plenty of room. There's, I'm not saying that, we're at the best that we can be. There's always room that we can improve on, and we're working on it. It's a work in progress, and I think we're in that direction.
Well, we got a comment, and I like it. I was going to ask it to you myself. Brandon Smoot said, "What is your favorite class to announce, and why? Why is your favorite class to announce?"
Well, that's kind of hard to say. Old Smoot did a wonderful job the other night, and what he's doing with his truck. I like tractors, and I like V8 motors. So you put them together, you see what you have. You got the economy modified,
right?
But I like the light limited class, because that class definitely has the rainbow tractors in it. You've got a little bit of different colors all in that class. It's easier to talk about because people can relate. Well,
right.
If it's, I'm an International fan, or I'm a Ford New Holland fan, or I'm a John Deere, Alice Chimer, or, and go from there. But there's some color in the 10,000. I kind of like all the classes, but I think when you get out into an area, and I know it, when I go to an area, I know if it's going to be tractor people or if it's going to be truck people. And the area that I go into, I'll spend a lot of time in that conversation. If I know it's a truck area, the 6400, because you have so many variations of vehicles.
Right.
You can name 6 or 7 right off the top of your head, and any given pull, they're the ones going to be at the top.
Yeah.
Anybody can win in that class. And I'm saying 6 or 7, that's just quick, the quick ones come to, when you're talking about 15 vehicles in the class, it's, anybody's game. And you have Dodge, and you have Ford, and you have Chevrolet, and I think that's more people relate to that,
right,
than they do the tractors.
Well, not everybody owns a tractor, but most people have a truck, or at least one in the family.
Or yes. I think probably if I had to say what would be the best one to announce is the Run with Your Brung Street Diesel class, because that's the average Joe coming out there that has his truck and he pulls, and I hate to say it, I don't want to see anything break, don't want to see anybody get hurt or anything, but when you start seeing things happening and you get to talk about that, maybe that's the class. Probably the Run with Your Brung Street Diesels, because some places we go to, we do the cutoff at 25. Mm-hmm. I have been somewhere that we pulled 30-plus vehicles, 36 vehicles one night in that street diesel class, and it's not the first vehicle pulled twice. So we said, okay, so we cut them off at that time.
Yeah,
it being 36 vehicles. There are 36 vehicles in a class, in the street four-wheel drive diesel class, and everybody had a good time. And some of them really knew what they did about pulling. Sometimes it's the first time they ever hooked to a sled. Didn't understand it. Well,
yeah, right. And for all those diesel guys out there, PSA, public service announcement: turn your lights off. You're pulling on a lit track. They always do that, don't they? And they got some of those LEDs with the light bars, and it looks like kit.
Well, it was kind of joke one time. We were at a pool, and the fellow was pulling the truck, and they said, "Cut your headlights out," and they didn't know how. And I go, "What do you mean they didn't know how? You hit the switch." But that was the report on the radio to me by the flagman that said, it might have been somebody else driving the truck. Didn't know how to turn off the lights. I thought that was kind of funny, so I kind of passed that on to everybody.
We talked recently, a few weeks ago, about what made TV shows really good back in the day. And we're trying to do that. We had Brandon Smoot out there filming. Shout out to Brandon. He was trying to film at the front end line, and we put some of that footage on the YouTube. But we're talking about bigger lights. We're talking about bigger venues. More stadium seating and stuff like that. What else can we improve on to really communicate maybe to the fan that's not coming out yet that, hey, we're here, we're legitimate. It's not always for, local Rurittans or Fairfax. There's place to get your name out there to these these thousands and thousands of fans. So come on out and let us advertise a little bit for you.
Well, when you start looking at it, somebody, every little pool has a sponsorship, and they go out and within their community and getting sponsors, and they do wonderful. Like some of the Ruritan clubs go out, fire departments, everybody's helping the fire department, Ruritan club, civic organizations to put on the pool. It's going to take corporate. It's going to take big name sponsorship that we have to knock on the door and ring the phone and get in there, and that help. That's where we need help, because somebody's got a contact number.
Right.
Somebody knows something, and that's where it's going to help us for that. And if you don't feel comfortable and calling somebody, I'd be glad to call them and talk to them about the sponsorship and get there. As far as that exposure,
right,
and then their product out there. There's a lot of tire business, automotive repairs, locally. They're kind of locally. I mean, like you say, okay, I'm in the tire sales business, and why do I need to advertise in Lynchburg when my business is in Petersburg, or I'm in Lively? Why do I need to go to South Boston and that type? But when you got to look at corporate, Advanced Auto Parts, O'Reilly Auto Parts, Napa Auto Parts, Prince Oil, Senpico Oil, those things of that. That's where we need to work on. We need help from local community to help with that if they had the contact number.
Right. And John hit on a good point here. He said, if you need help, just give us a phone number. I know Ted Ingram called me this week and said, I need a sponsorship. I need a document for getting sponsorship for my class. What's available to me? Well, we put your logos on calendars, on YouTube videos, and the average business owner is not going to know that, and the average puller is not going to know to tell them that. So, like a simple document, well, it's already written for you. We just have to change the verbiage for a specific class and get that to you, and you can take it to all your sponsors or your people who you're buying parts from or suppliers. You can take that to anybody and just have them look at it and say, hey, look, here's what we're doing, and here's a little bit more information about it, maybe in words that I don't know how to say. Here it is on paper, or get a phone number and we'll call them up, right?
Yeah, we can do that. Yes.
Well,
easy enough done. Yes.
Yep. Hey, I wish you just the best 2017. Well, anything you're looking forward to? I know you were talking the other night about the May event. You want to talk about that for just a few seconds?
Yeah, this is something that has been in the works for probably over a year that Temple has worked on, talking with NTPA, trying to do something and bringing an event to Miller's Tavern. And we're lucky enough to being able to work the agreement out. So May 13th at Miller's Tavern will be the NTPA. It will be the first hook for the NTPA Region 4 pullers. And the 4 classes that we will be running there will be the National 4-Wheel Drive, the National 2-Wheel Drive, the 9000 Limited Pro tractors, and we're going to also be bringing in the 2,000-pound mini rods, or it'd be the mini rods. It's something that people, they have seen the 2-wheel drives at Miller's Tavern, they've seen the 4-wheel drives, and they've probably seen some tractor classes, but these are a little bit different tractor setup. I mean, when you start looking at them, they run in a little bit different size. They're limited on cubic inch and injection pump, any size turbo, different tires, put on a good show. But if you haven't seen the mini rods, the 2,000-pound minis, they need to come to Miller's Tavern, because you're talking 2,500 horsepower sitting on you're sitting on the machine and it's weighing 2,000 pounds, you're really going to see a lot of horsepower. You're going to see.
Right.
I'm waiting to see how the track conditions are going to be different than they've ever hooked to before, because Miller's Tavern has got a pretty good track. It was biting. It would have been a wonderful track for the light limiteds the other night.
Oh,
the way
yeah.
the track was set up and worked. The mini rods are going to be awesome. It's almost like a two-wheel drive truck, but it's unpredictable. These little things are going to be crazy on the track.
And
so,
we have On the Mark coming with that sled, so that's going to be a night that you just don't.
Yes.
I'm already thinking about it. I've already lived it out in my mind. I can't wait for it to get here, and I know you're going to have fun announcing it. I'm going to have fun filming it. I got my NTPA credentials the other day. I was so ecstatic, showing the wife, the kids. I was like, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah. I've got to wait to send my money and get my credentials. So but look, if anybody's out there and they said, oh, I've seen the four wheels. I mean, we're talking about right now. Well, let's just think it in Miller's Tavern, in that area of Tappahannock, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 national trucks, 8 probably. I'm just going all quick off my head.
Right.
National that are Grand National competitors. Just half a dozen within 20 miles of Miller's Tavern, 25 miles, Miller's Tavern.
Right.
Are going to come there. That makes and it's going to be a regional. And a lot of guys that run in NTPA Region 4 are going to be there. So you're going to get trucks that you've never seen before, other than looking on a video or looking in a magazine. You're going to have some four-wheel drive trucks coming in that want to run. But see, here's the kicker. Region 4, you got to qualify to be able to get into the Enderley pool. So Region 4, they're going to be coming, because I think there's 4 hooks for Region 4 this year, and Pine Tops is one, North Carolina or Elizabeth City, Miller's Tavern, and I think there's one more, maybe Saluda, that are regional pools. And there's going to be vehicles probably from Ohio, Indy, that are coming. Definitely from probably New York, or I say New York or Pennsylvania. So, they're going to be coming, because some of them run in that Region 4. They're going to be coming, and they want to get into that region pool and then be able to go to the Enderley pool. So
right.
It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a very exciting time. And this is not something that just happened. Like I said, it's Temple worked with Greg Randall and trying to get things together and working it out. And we were lucky enough to get the date, and it happens to be the first date of NTPA hooks. So it's going to be great. It's going to be great.
I agree.
You're going to see a lot of pullers coming out there. You want to do testing and tuning too. So to make sure that, hey, I might test and tune on one pull, and then I'm doing real well, I'm going to Pine Tops. Pine Tops is the next weekend. That's a 2-day event, and they go from there. So it's going to be very exciting.
Well, I agree with everything you said. Make sure you come out early. You can walk the pits and see all these fabulous vehicles that John was talking about. So make sure you get to the pits. I believe it starts at 7, and the pits are going to be open a little bit before that. So walk around, come on up.
Get there early. There's concession on the ground, so you just get there early, get a good, safe spot. We've added in more bleachers, more seating last year. Come in, lay your blanket down, put your little whatever you want to do, get your little seat, and then walk around and get into the pit areas, because a lot of these pullers, you think, hey, you just walk right on up. I won't say walk right up in their hauler, but walk around their vehicle, and they'll be glad, just ask them a question or something, talk to them. If you got young kids, man, that's the great thing, just getting it out there to the young kids. And a lot of these pullers that travel have information cards and puller profile cards. And so you had that, and that's always was something back in the day when I remember seeing some of them, getting those out and seeing those.
Yep.
But, hey, when we talked the other day, you were asking me about my picks. Are you going to ask me what my picks are? Because I'm kind of itching to be able to, because we kind of messed up the other day.
We did.
I might want to change my mind on some classes that we've already pulled.
Okay, all right. So, all right, we did this for the fans out there. When we pre-recorded this last week, and it actually didn't record, I asked John all this list. I said, John, we went too long on that. All right, so I'm gonna say it. You tell me what you think, and I'm gonna say what I think. Okay, national 4x4.
National 4-wheel drive. It's going to be a little different. I was picking a truck 2 weeks ago. Or last week we talked. I'm gonna change it up because
you
I saw
said Cubbage
the other night that
you said after
midnight.
midnight.
I said Brian Cubbage, and I said Cubbage, and I was thinking that he was going to be able to run. Since that time, I found out that he's not looking at running a full circuit and pulling. I'm looking at somebody entirely different now, and it's going to be different. And I'm gonna go out and pick Mike Shiflett.
Oh, that's a good pick. He had a good run the other night.
Well, it is. He had a good run. He had a little test and tune on the truck. He had a good run. Troy Nails and Kevin Ebshire were there doing a little testing and running, and I think they're working. I think they misread the track, trying to make it work. And sometimes when you run a higher gear and you're thinking, because these trucks are easy enough to change gears, but traditionally they probably looked at a different gear, thought maybe they could run a little bit more gear. They got a new power plant in the trucks, thinking. But, what we saw Saturday night, I know that's not what they would have done if they were hooking to the sled and they're looking to get to the pay window.
Right.
That's not, it would have been entirely different. I think they're doing that's what we call it, a little testing and tuning. But I'm looking at Mike Shiflett.
Okay. Last week I said Money Hog. I'm going to keep Money Hog. Now, do you think Jerry?
That's a good bet too.
Well, I mean that's an easy bet. Okay, I mean he's a fan favorite, but he's one of our 100% club usually. So that's why I like him for that. What do you got in the 64?
He's a good puller.
Oh, very good puller. Aaron Smothers, no doubt about it, and he can tear up some Keystone. I tell you.
Yes.
What about old Jerry Young, 64 Pro Stock? Who you think's going to take that class this year?
The 64 Pro Street, it's a toss-up. I like I said earlier, there's about half a dozen trucks that you can almost watch. I've been watching one for the last 2 years and just trying to figure out what's working with him. I'm gonna pick Wesley Keys on the Black Ice. That's a good running truck. You can't never count out Jerry Smith on the old Goat. I know there's been some changes in his camp on motors, but there's always Big Texas sitting there with the haymaker, so you got to watch out for that one. That one there. But see, you had to go back and look at who has come back in the class back-to-back championships, and I had to go back and go do some researching and. Unless somebody knows something more than I do, and they probably do, I'm going to pick Wesley Keys. I'm looking for Wesley Keys.
I will tell you, I'm going to stick with my pick. I think Jerry Young's going to try to repeat. Now he's got that nice, comfy road truck out there pulling his trailer. I think he's setting it up to be a nice run and go back-to-back. Who do you got for small block?
Small block. Well, I was picking David Hall, and I think I'm trying to remember where David finished up the other night on the part-time hooker.
I believe it's 6 or 7.
But there's a couple other. There's a couple other vehicles in there, and if Ernie Deal on the Outcast stays with it and gets and goes, that's a very competitive truck. And I just don't know if he's going to be in. I don't know if he's in to do a point series run.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will say, I'm in it. I'm going to dedicate this year. But that's a good running truck. He's definitely one to be looking at. Then you've got Derek Vess also out of Millboro on the Ford. And so those are the two that I'm gonna watch.
Yeah. You know what? I like both those picks. Now, I especially like the mountains coming out, the motors coming out of the mountains. Okay, but I'm going to go with Delton. I liked what his truck did last year. He had a couple of wins, and I'm curious to see what a points chase is going to look like for that camp. And they got a lot of crew down there. They got a couple of trucks. They got one to measure and then one to rake with. Okay, so I always say teams do really well in pulling. So that I'm staying Delton Stallings. What about Pro Diesel? Who you got for that?
Pro Diesel. I don't know. I don't know if this past weekend is going to cause a problem because they have a hook coming this weekend for Greg Moore. But I'm probably going to look at. I'm going to blow his head all out of proportion right now. Little Brandon Smoot on the GMC. I mean I've seen Dodges and the Cummins and the Fords, and that's just I think it's time for the Chevrolet to get up there now.
I had a brief conversation with him today, and I said, "You better run for points, boy. You better." I said, "You can do it. This would be the year." I don't know he's going to be at the first hook, but we'll see. You never know.
Well, yeah.
What else? What other truck class we got? We don't run monsters for points. You want to do outlaw?
No.
We got outlaw.
Well, the outlaw class. The outlaw class that I see. This is probably a second-generation puller. I think out of the Simmons brothers, I was told the other night, Simmons brothers, sons and daughters pulling team. But Phillip has had a good run the other night with his truck. I think he finished in the second spot on the outlaw. So I'm gonna, and that truck looks to be orange, somewhere closer to orange than it is red. So I'm gonna pick the Simmons brothers, the young Simmons brothers. On the, I think they call that truck the not family tradition.
A foolish.
It might be a foolish tradition. Maybe it's foolish tradition.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look at that truck. That's the one I'm looking at.
They got some nice trucks, that's for sure. I'm gonna go with that too. Let's see what tractors. Let's go down in order. Who's your light pro stock guy?
Light pro stock. That's it easy. That's a no-brainer there. I'm going all in. Everything's in on. Perrin Bean on the Alice Trumber. That's I'm standing here with my AC hat on, so I'm sorry for your luck with the but I'm gonna pick all about the Alice. Looking at the championship.
Yeah, me too. Perrin Bean, I got.
He was a hard charger last year. Him and Steve Flint were going back and forth. Something happened in the injection pump. It kind of knocked him back a little bit, but that did not stop him. He got it back home, got it reworked, got it back in. And messing up, and so you're having five, six tractors in the class. Next thing you know, it doesn't take long to get your bump back a little bit.
Nope.
In points, and especially if you cannot make one, automatically you're 50 points behind.
No,
but I'm gonna pick Perrin Bean.
We haven't had a back-to-back champion in that class, so I mean Steve Flint could take it, but the other one you got to watch out for is Richard Copsey, the traveling mate of Perrin Bean. So I mean,
yes,
he could do it now. He has showed some power last year, something I haven't seen in a while.
Yep.
So
towards the end, he turned the wick up on the 560, and he contributed to being some new tires that he had on there. I can't give it all the credit there, but he definitely is somebody to look at. But I'm gonna take the orange on the tractor, so that's on the light pro.
No, we don't have an orange one. We don't have an orange one in Super Pro Farm, so you got to pick red or blue.
Super Pro. Well, I mean,
you have a blue one in the class.
I mean, you have multiple champions there in the class, and with EL and Thurman, and you got Chad and Todd and Billy. I saw big improvements towards the later or the last half of the season last year with the lights out tractor coming in on, and that's where I'm gonna pick. I'm gonna pick lights out, just to change it up a little bit, because I know he's gonna do everything he can to be at every pull. And with about 5 or 6 tractors in that class, is not a lot of room that you can mess up. And so they're going to end up.
I would be remiss if I'm wearing a Lights Out Motorsports shirt and I didn't pick Billy Rice, but I knew he's going to be my next guest, so I will. Yeah, I will go with Billy.
Oh, Billy's going to be on tonight.
Yeah, Billy's going to be on tonight. So, who else we got? We got Hot Farm.
The hot farm class. That's going to be, well, I don't know. There is an ATCO in the class.
Yep.
Dwight Swope, and out of their camp, they've been turning screws on the tractor. You got Adam Ritchie coming, definitely a very tough competitor. I'm gonna look at Dwight Swope. I'm gonna pick Dwight on the ATCO because he's starting to come around. The last couple of hooks he was having everything was working out with that new tractor setup at the beginning of the year, and just trying to get things going. So takes a little while to get the bugs worked out. So I'm gonna pick Dwight.
Now you have an orange one in this next class, the V8 modified. Did he show you enough, Tommy Coffey and Gary Coffey, to put them on the block?
Well, the Coffey brothers did. I'm gonna tell you what. I'm just what I saw the other night, and I was thinking, all right, how much change can really be done on a gambler when they're going from automatic to the clutch setup and going in from there. I'm going to bring I hope they're listening, because I'm bringing my pump, and I'm going to pump that motor because I think he's a little. I'm messing with him. I think he's a little bigger. I think he's a little bigger than a 400. But no, that thing just came alive the other night.
No, it did.
And I think some of them missed the calculation on the weight with the front end coming up a little bit. But I'd have to. I'll go with the Coffey brothers, and we'll go with with the WD. But if they can be there 100%, that's the thing. If they can be 100%, they'll be a tough competitor to run with the Gambler. And then you got Rocky on his. And but if you had I would rather take a bet on Rocky versus Butterbean and see which one does better versus the grandfather or the grandson.
Well, see, you need to figure out if they can swap side shields and just have them run that tractor back to back. Well, that would be a good way to grow that class. But you know what? I'm going to tell you, Grayson said, we had him on the show a few weeks ago, and he said this year we're going to find out if Kevin is a driver or if he's just a holding on puller. So well, he's got a challenge for this year.
Well, he was so used to riding on the putt-putts, running 3 miles an hour and having a hand clutch and everything. When he got into something with some real horsepower, thank goodness they have these little program games that he can play on his phone and do truck and tractor pulling.
Yeah.
But no, that Gambler, that's a hard bunch to beat.
No, it
English
is.
Motorsports. They've been around a long time. Grayson has been around it, and he can go to scratch his head and think about if he's going to do something right or wrong. He said, "Well, we're not doing anything until we try." So
yeah,
and they're always a great sport.
No,
those guys, they're
real family friendly, great guys.
It is.
Well, I wish you a great 2017. Thanks for coming on to the show.
Wait a minute, we got to hold on. We got one more, I think.
Well, we
Another
got
class of tractors.
Well, we got Alter Farm, don't we?
Well, the Altered Farm that's been resurrected and brought in.
I always forget about that
a little
one.
Different setup.
Who you got?
Alan Berner. Well, my pick has always been Alan Berner on his international, and he proved that the other night he got the #1 spot. I think everybody missed the setting on the gear selection because it choked them right at the end, where I know they had plenty of. They probably could have a lot more power in there, but I think they missed the gear setting to try to run that same speed, where they're running 18 miles an hour, and I was looking at it as when they used to run the speed on the hot farm, there was a tractor that always ran a little bit lower speed, but he always performed better. And I don't think speed is always the big issue.
All right.
I think they can run a little bit slower keep the horsepower, keep the tires hooked, but it's all going to be a game on the speed. 18 is good. 18-1, you're gone.
Yeah, that's right. I like Frank Swope. I'm going to pick him. I think Dwight is going to have that thing. It's a family deal, so I think I'm going to go with that one.
Well, that Oliver's a very tough competitor. We saw that, years back. And being, I say, a disadvantage, the cubic inches from a 466 and they're down to a 360. A little bit lower cubic inches, but sometimes when you get down there, those little small motors can grunt.
Right.
So.
Well, I like that one. Let's see. Is that all the classes? How many is that?
Yeah, I think so. Well, yeah, I think that's all of them. Yeah.
Well,
probably all of them.
I don't know how many hooks they have this year. Maybe they'll have a little bit more than they've had in the past. But I wish them the best of luck. I wish all these pullers the best of luck. We're just playing games and saying who we think is who. So, John, thanks. I really do. I look forward to a great 2017, and thanks for coming on to the show and answering some questions.
Yeah, no problem, Will. Well, I appreciate it. We joked around the other day on the phone. I said, talking about Will Witt Productions, and we just called him Willie T TV, and then you're talking about it's a little catchphrase, but on behalf of Dragon Motorsports, I appreciate all our pullers that come with us weekend in and weekend out, every weekend pulling. We roughly in the past have anywhere from 125 to 150 members that are pulling with us throughout the classes that we run. It's an enjoyable sport. I enjoy it, love it. I had to just get things squared away and make sure that, on the pulls that we are there and putting on a good show for the spectators that are coming. And you help a whole lot in that area as far as on the taking care of the videos and promoting the sport that way.
Yeah, I mean, anything to help. That's what we're here for. That's what our claim to fame has been, and we try to do a good job. So hopefully we can keep on growing it, and it'll be around for a good long time, and we'll get the right sponsors, and we'll get their word out, and we'll all collectively grow. That's the hope anyway.
Yeah.
All right.
It is.
Well, John, thanks. You have a great night, and we will talk to you real soon.
Wait a minute now. I still got a few more minutes to catch up with Thurman.
Yeah.
Hey.
Well, we'll pick that up. I'll have you back on again, and we can go for hour and a half.
No. We're good. All right, Will.
All right, buddy.
Thank you much.
Have a good night.
All right. Bye.
All right. So you heard John Nicol talk about the perspective for 2017, and I know this next guy. Billy Rice is he's excited about 2017. Now we went a little bit long there, but that's okay. We got Billy Rice here. We're gonna go a little bit longer more. So normally we would be an hour 15.
Dragon Motorsports.
What'd you say?
How you doing, Will?
Billy Rice on the phone. Now look, I didn't finish your intro. Okay, so I'm going to finish your intro. Our second guest tonight is a puller in the reddest colored class on the planet, the Super Pro Farm class of Dragon Motorsports, Billy Rice. Welcome to the show, Billy Rice.
Glad to be here, Will. Glad to be here.
Now, Billy, you finished the last season strong. You happy you made the jump to the Pro Farm class?
Some days, yeah. Some days, no. It just depends on the day. We've had a rough go. Some days I wish we'd stayed in the hot farm, especially in 2015. But, we worked through the problems, and we're where we need to be now, because hopefully we can keep moving forward.
Right. Well, now you had a couple of years where you were going back to back there in that hot farm class, and I tell you, it was like you didn't have too many friends when you're up there at the top. So
no, you got plenty when you're at the bottom, and then when you get to the top, they start leaving you.
They start leaving. You told me that. You said just know it. All right. Hey, say what are some of the changes you made this off season, and that you're excited to see how they work out?
Well, we did a whole lot of changing in 16. We changed camshafts 3 times, swap injection pumps, injectors. We went through a couple intercoolers, a couple sets of tires, 3 different turbos. So we're hoping that we're where we need to be for 17. The only thing we really did was we changed some brake stuff up, and as you know, Thurman told you last week, we went to the double cut tire.
Mm-hmm.
So, we've got, basically we just did a few simple things. I might have something in the box for later on in the middle of the season. But,
I love hearing that. You're not just a puller. You're a promoter. We love that. Okay. We love it because you don't just say you like pulling, you actually pull, but then you don't just, go out and live the puller life, of wondrous excitement on the track. You also promote the sport. So, as a promoter, what other classes would you have? Hold on. What other classes do you have? And do your fans tell you what they want to have at your pull? Okay, you've had the mod 4x4s, you've had the pro stock 4x4s. What do your fans say? Billy, this is what I love. I want to see this.
Well, South Boston's a different type of people come to a pull in South Boston. It's different than a whole lot of areas.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the most liked class there, believe it or not, or Follow's class would happen to be a street gas class, just to be honest with you. They want to see their neighbor throw a drive shaft or tear his truck all to pieces, and that's what they like. But from a dragon class, I'm going to go with probably the 64 Pro Street. And that's a good class you're going to find anywhere. With Jerry Young, Kathy Jewell, Tom Henley, the Simmons brothers. That's just a great group. Anywhere you want to go. So I would probably say that's the best class that we have there to have to offer because, you got 15 trucks any given night. Yeah,
and they're all decaled up, and they look nice, and they're clean.
It's a very professional class, yes.
Now, you have an event. Your event, now, we got you a little bit early in the year, but your event is the middle of summer in July. What classes are you going to have there? And tell us about your event a little bit.
We're going to have the 64 Pro Street, the 78 Light Limited, of course, the 10,000 Super Pro Farm, 11,000 Hot Farm, the 62 Small Block, which is a new Dragon class, the 62 Open Street, and the 8,000 Pro Street Diesel. And we'll probably put a farm stock in there sometime or another. But, we try to keep a wide variety where it's about as many truck classes there are tractor classes. Because, everybody's not liking the same things. You go up Lexington, that's a truck area, and South Boston's really it's nothing specific that they like. It's different to the area because it's not like that around.
Now,
that's what.
If Willie T TV gave you an unlimited budget and you could have any class in the nation come into South Boston, what would you bring there?
I would have the super stocks there. I'd have Ed Jump Pool. That's just what I grew up watching him and Jerry Van Dorp and that group. That would be the class I would have. That's where everybody wants to be.
It's the pinnacle, right?
Yep. Yeah, that's where they want to be, and the heavy super class. That's as good as it's gonna get.
Yeah, and there's a good amount of red in that class too. So yeah,
yes,
something to hang your hat on there. Okay, so South Boston or Sobo as we know it, that's your hometown poll. What does it mean pulling in front of them?
Well, it depends on which year you're talking about. We had 2 great years. First 2 years when we ran the hot farm, we won, and then the next 2, Thurman has whooped me at home. With my last 2 appearances at home have not been that great. Seemed like we wouldn't have a decent season going, and then I'll have a meltdown at the starting line or something will happen. But putting on a show and going to a pool is 2 different things. I enjoy pulling somewhere else more than I do at home because you're stressed out.
Yeah.
You're trying to make sure everybody's satisfied, and somebody's always going to be unhappy, but that's just part of that's part of putting on the show.
No, that's human nature, Billy.
Keep everything going, and you know, John is great for that, because if something's not going right, John can step in there and say, "Hey, we're going to do this, 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 and this," and that's how it's going to be, and it's over with. So,
yep.
But putting on a show can really stress you out. I mean, for 2 months, you're going to scratch your head and want to just cancel the whole thing. But it gets better, and that night's basically a blur for me every year. So.
Well, I know you paid Thurman back some of that, okay, because you beat him in Isle of Wight last year at the end of the year. So
I did. We swapped tires, and everything started clicking. We did get him at home. That felt pretty good.
Okay, so South Boston. Okay, it's not for the lack of the track. It's just putting on the pole. We're not going to call that your favorite place to pull. What is your favorite place to pull? And why is it your favorite place? Why is it your favorite place too?
Oh, I'm gonna give you 2 answers on that.
Oh gosh.
My favorite track is Winchester. We don't pull there anymore because Pro Farms don't go there. But my favorite track is Winchester. It's a power track, and that's what my tractor liked. And it really performed there, and I really enjoyed going to Winchester, even though it was about 300 miles there. But as an overall pull, I enjoy Gladys the most. We go to Gladys. It's a short run pull. It's probably 70 miles. My fan base is in the southern part of the state mostly. Some in Carolina, they come and follow us. And
right.
They can come to Gladys, and I'm not stressed out. I don't have to worry about is everything in order. I can go, make sure the tractor's situated, and I can enjoy the pull. I can watch the Hot Farms pull, the 78s, the 64, whatever I want to do, I can watch it, and I can really enjoy it. So from that standpoint, I would say it's local. Friends and family can still come and watch you, and it's a great track. The Schrocks do a great job putting that pull on.
Yeah, and keep this in mind too, that they have a lot of stuff in there. I was doing the teaser video, and I put it on Facebook, and I was looking at it, and I said, "Oh my gosh, this is a really good pull." I mean, they just have it was almost every major Dragon Motorsports class, and I was like, "This is a really good." So Temple Brisendine said, "You know what? We're going to call it a Simpico All-Star event." So that's cool. They're getting a really cool title for that event because they're having all the right amounts of classes and the types of classes, and they've grown that pull, that venue, every year, and it is a good venue. Now, Billy, I'm going to tell you, if you want to pull at Winchester, you know what class goes there every year? Those light pro stocks.
Yeah, my budget won't stand that right now.
Oh, come on.
It'll barely stand the pro form as we speak.
No, I hear you. Hey, let's lighten it up. Let's lighten it up a little bit. What's your funniest moment that you've been involved in polling? On the track, off the track, pits, traveling too? What's your funniest moment?
Well, I guess I'll throw a few people under the bus on this one.
Oh gosh.
This is based on Dad right here. It was when we were pulling Hot Farm with the speed limit and the RPM meter. I don't remember. Were you around then?
I was in 2013.
Okay, that was 2013. That should have been 2013, I think. Anyway, they had an RPM meter box, and they had a speed limit you had to run against. Well, there's a few of them in there that we started doing better, and they got agitated with us. And they basically bucked us a few times. So I said, you know what, I'm going to mess with your head tonight. So we're in Afton, Virginia, Rockfish Gap, whatever you want to call it.
Right.
And they hook up the RPM box, and Josh Sims steps up on the tractor and asks what I'm going to do. I said, well, I'm going to point down to the end of the track. I said, I'm going to bring it up twice and act like something's wrong and trip this box out. So somebody come run down here and reset it every time. So I did that, and I finally took off. And, it pulled great. Pulled about 320, 330, something like that, full pull. And Dad stands up and throws his hat and spins around and doesn't realize what he's doing. And he gets some kind of embarrassed. I mean, he didn't know what to do. He didn't realize he'd done it, and the whole crowd seen it, and he was so embarrassed it wasn't funny. So I would say that was probably my funniest memory of him doing that.
That's funny. we know you're a tractor guy, and we also know that your dad and you know how to build them. But if you had to build a truck, what class and what brand would you build it for?
I'm gonna have to go in the 64s. Got to be a Chevrolet square body.
Oh gosh,
because they're beautiful trucks. So you look at David Halls and the Stallings boys. They have great looking trucks. I mean, I'd have a black one.
Oh,
matter of fact, black one just like David Hall. It looks great, I think.
Now, is he your pick to click in that small block 4x4 class?
It's gonna be tight. I know Ernie Deal has really got a good running truck this year.
Yes, he does.
And the Stallings boys, they have a good runner. I'm gonna go with either Delton or David. That's a toss up. They are both, since the word go, they've come to South Boston. It is a long haul for both of them. But they have supported me from day one, and I will always be a fan of them.
Now, we always hear, teams do a good job because they can, figure out what one of them likes and then change the other one if they have to. So they do have an upper hand if you think about it in that small block class. Just like, say when the Foresters come to town or something like that, it's not that you're competing against 12 tractors. You're really competing about 3 or 4 because they're all going to run the same line, or they're going to change. They're going to move one weight in the same place. You know what I mean? It's teammates and teamwork is really, it's really an upper hand, when you think about it.
A little piece of information go a long ways.
Oh, yeah.
Especially when it comes.
Well, how many times would you like to say, I would love another go at that track? Oh, my goodness. I hear it all the time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Especially if you run out of bounds or some stupid shoot. Yeah, oh, yeah. I've had plenty of times that I want to try it again, but, you get one shot.
Now, your buddy Jerry Young's got a square body, and he won in South Boston. If he wins there this year, man, they're going to make him the king of South Boston. So tell me, go ahead.
He thinks he'd be the king of South Boston.
Hey, he'd be the people's king. Well, hey, look, what have you learned from Jerry Young as a puller and a promoter?
Jerry and I talk basically every day. Jerry's a great guy. Not everybody is the biggest fan of him, and he's always been at the top of the class. He does his homework. He spends the money in the right places. And he's a great guy. I consider him basically an underdog, but he performs at the top. Great guy. He's a family man. I'll call him after church on Sundays. He's getting out of church, headed to Richmond to see his daughter. He'll be down there till 10 o'clock at night. Mm-hmm. I basically know if he knows when I'm getting off work, I'll call him, talk to him a little bit, harass him, and go on to bed. But he's a great guy. He works hard. He runs a good farming operation, pushes a bunch of snow, got a few employees underneath him. But yeah, he's a good guy, and he will help you. He'll give you some track pointers because a truck puller can read a track better than any tractor puller that I know.
Really?
Them, and as far as I'm one of the best, yeah, definitely.
I've never heard that before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they know. They can look at them and tell where, this side's higher than that side, and the diggers won't go in as far, blah, blah, blah. They can read it better than we can. They can read it better than I can anyway. Dad does a really good job, but a truck puller pays attention more to a track than a tractor puller guy does.
Oh, hey, so hold on real quick here. We got Rileyville. We got New Zealand tuning in all over the place. We even got Madison. Oh, my gosh. Brightwood is tuning in. Hey, look, I heard Billy Rice is going to drive a green tractor in 2017. Is that true? No. Now, we saw you in that John Deere hat at the banquet last year. Now, you can't deny that because I got a picture of you. So you're going to stay red, right?
Well, if I would drive a green tractor. I mean, if somebody put me in the seat of one, sure, I'd drive one. But I might not. I might match the clutch in before I pass my own. But I would drive it.
Brandon Smoot said he's going to put a video filter on you, and he's going to make your tractor look green and silver. So, they're just joshing with you.
John Deere, let me bring this up while I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
We will be having John Deere enter this class this year.
You think?
I don't think it's better.
No, that's a fairy tale. I've been hearing a lot. I've been hearing that for years now, Billy. I'm telling you.
I've seen it. I've seen the tractor, so you can believe it.
And where is it coming from? What city is it coming from?
It is in the Farmville area. I've seen a picture of it. It come out of Ace Chassis, and it's a beautiful tractor. It's like a 40-20 style John Deere. It's a great looking tractor. And this guy's not new to tractor pulling. He pulled antique years ago. It's going to take him a little while to get used to it.
So
it'll probably take 2 years like it takes anybody else.
So you think it's going to take him a couple of years? So you're talking about having a John Deere. Blue Bayou's coming back this year. It's ready to roll, make a run. Okay, and then we got the 5, and then we got Bill Catlett coming back. That's 6. We're looking at a potential of having 8 tractors in that class. And that's a good amount of competition. Now, if we could get a few other boys to come over, that's what I would like to see. Is oh my gosh, these Dragon guys are for real. That's what I would like to see a little interstate competition.
There's going to be a couple actually cross the line. I've talked to a few of them. They're not 540 tractors, but they're 466 tractors, non-intercooler, and they're going to come play with us. One of them actually showed up at Gladys as a new tractor last year, and he didn't have everything correct, so you really couldn't judge anything then. But we're going to have, I think it's going to be some nights where we have somebody's going to go home with no money. I hope it is.
Well, y'all only pay back what? How many spots? Like 7 spots, 8 spots?
Well, it used to be 8. It used to be 10. We moved it to 8 this year.
8, right?
If we get 9 in there, somebody's going home empty-pocketed, unless they come up with something different. And I'm sure we'll work with, if we have 9 pullers or 10 pullers, I'm sure we'll come up with something.
Yeah, and promoters can always say, "Yeah, I'll cut you a check." That's their discretion to do that. Billy, is there anybody? What's that? What'd you say?
I'm sure you cut them a check, get them free pictures or something.
Now, don't be all like Jerry Young. Buy 2, get 5 for free. I mean, good grief.
Buy 1, get 1.
No, he's buy 1, get 3, or buy 1, get 2. Oh, good grief.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
No, he gets on me pretty good there. Hey, Billy, anybody you want to give a shout out to and say thanks for helping out?
Oh, yeah. God especially, because that would not happen without Dad, Matt Gosney, Marvin Moore, Capital Welding, Spalding Equipment, R.B. Tucker Auction and Realty, Darnell's Diesel Service, Hawthorne Tire, Crutchfield Machine, and Atlas Tractor. And my fiance says in her as well, so don't forget me.
Well, it is a family deal, so anytime you got some loved ones there, you gotta give a shout out to them too. Now
it's hard on a family. I can tell you that, being gone 20 weekends of the summer, so you know how that goes.
Well, you know what your buddy Jerry says.
What did he say?
Well, he says, "Well, this truck is just as much Vicky's as it is mine."
Vicky keeps saying she's going to sell it and then move into the beach, but I haven't seen something yet.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to let that happen, but it's as much his as hers. So that's good that you gave your shout outs. And Spalding Equipment, because they also help out and have helped the Pro Farm class in the past, but as well as Dragon Motorsports, and now they're working with the Light Pro stocks, and that's good because they don't have anybody. You guys have like 8 or 9 sponsors coming on board, and man, I tell you guys, the Pro Farm class gets after it. Hey, if they're buying a part from a supplier, hey, would you want a sponsor? Hey, we'll get you a photo at the end of the year. I mean, you guys do probably the best job I've seen of getting sponsors, keeping sponsors, and I just kudos to you guys, EL and Thurman and all those guys for going out there, and you with the Spalding hookup back in the day. But man, I tell you, you guys you get after it when in terms of sponsorship.
Well, I can't take any credit on that, Will. You know, the Spalding deal the year ago I can, but EL does a great job with that.
Absolutely.
I can't take that away. He does about all of that, and he does a wonderful job because it helps us at the end of the year a bunch. So he does a great job with it.
Yeah, when people, when I introduce myself, they ask me what I do, and I say, "Oh, I film truck and tractor pull." I completely forget that I have a day job. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I work on computer nerd stuff, databases and stuff during the day, and websites and things like that. But I'm never going to be known for that. You know what I mean? People are going to remember the pictures, the videos, and all that stuff. And, you know, so I've adopted it too. And I know EL and Thurman are the same way. When you talk to them, hey, Bull, how's it going? Hey, Harvester, you know, they're known for that stuff, you know, as well as being community men and things like that. So, you know, it's great that they can pull in all those sponsorships, and y'all do a good job keeping them too. So I can't wait for this class. I think it's going to be a great summer for you guys. Stiffer competition than you've had in the past. And I think we're going to have some long distance visitors. I believe Clayton Sweeney said he's going to come and check out Farmville this year. So, you know, I'm thinking we're going to have Jason Bowers come over a little bit. So, you know, we'll see. We'll see what we have this year, but I wish you the best of luck in 2017. And Billy, just keep on hooking, and you know, I got your shirt on, and yeah, the fans love it. Your Polar cards that you do. I mean, where are you? You're right here. Okay, I'm pointing to your Polar card, and that's something that John alluded to. You're doing it the right way. You're getting shirts. You're getting Polar cards. You're handing them out. And that's just it grows your fan base, you know what I mean, and your Facebook page and all that stuff. So
yeah, it's I appreciate you making the cards. We passed them out, and I think we're going to have to get a few more. And the shirts deal, we've got them ordered, and I don't know if you've come out with it yet, but you know, we'll be selling the lights out shirts this year.
Oh yeah,
I don't plan on handling that. It's all going to be up to him. So if you want one, come see him.
No, that's right. We'll put that on the website here. Well, actually, we can go ahead and do it now and get the clothing section going so that we can start selling those products as well as koozies and hats. I mean, I sold out of hats with WWPTV on it just the other night, so I got to order some more hats now. So fans want them. It's our jobs to keep them around and pass them out. And Polar cards are the easiest thing in the world to, one, buy, but two, hand out, because you just sit them on your tractor and people will grab one. So
exactly right, and it sparks their interest too. And,
yeah,
you know, a lot of people won't forget, hey, give me a card, or hey, give me a T-shirt. You know,
yeah.
It grows the track.
Well, you can't always give out a free T-shirt, you know what I mean? But a Polar card, the cost of it is not a lot. You know, it's like maybe a 10, 15 cents a piece or something like that that it comes out to be. So, you know, Jerry Smith said, I probably need to let you go because your battery's about to die. That's what he said on the board there. So,
well, my battery usually dies when I talk to him. We got running a hole now. Whatever I need to do. You ever try to get off the phone with Jerry Young?
No, I haven't. He don't call me none.
He doesn't call you? I bet he doesn't.
Well, the only time I hear Jerry Young is from the shop. The only time I hear Jerry Smith is in Jerry Young's shop. You know, and I'll hear, hey, tell old Willie T.
Yeah, you got to watch them. They'll set you up. They'll talk about the other one. The other one's right there behind them.
Right, exactly. You just know that every conversation is either recorded or the person's right beside you.
That's right. Every time the goat asks me what you've been doing in your tractor, I just tell him nothing. You know, we watched it real good. Maybe cut down on the resistance.
Well, washing a vehicle does increase wind resistance. So, well, help it. Anyway, hey, Billy, it was great talking to you. I know we went a little bit long, me and John did, and I pushed you back a little bit, but thanks for hanging in there with me. And yeah, I wish you best of luck with your South Boston Pole and your 2017 run in the Super Pro Farm class.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed the conversation, and hopefully I'll see you on the 29th.
Yeah, we'll talk later about that.
All right.
I will.
See you later.
Yeah. You have a great evening. Thanks, Billy.
All right. Thank you. See you later. Bye.
All right. There you go. You heard it. Billy Rice. He's your, he came on like a bandit toward the end of the year last year. And he he just he does a great job with his Pro Farm tractor. We'll see if I can put it up here. There we go. That's his Pro Farm tractor on the screen there. It's clean, it's classy, it's red and silver, and I should have showed that while we were talking to him. But anyway, that's Billy Rice, great young man out of South Boston, and he's doing a lot for the sport, and we thank him all the time. He does a great job. So that's our show for tonight. Again, I want to thank Big L Tire, AED Custom Graphics, and the Cook Automotive Group, the auto group out of Colonial Heights, for hooking us up and helping us out. And remember, I'll go back on Facebook here in just a little bit, and I'll tag the Historical Virginia Facebook page so you can follow all those classic trucks that used to pull in Fishersville, Danville, all those great polls, and look forward to it from 2017, the Cook Wit video hookup. And we're going to do some old school pulling, and we're going to add some distances, just like we do with our YouTube channel now. So if you're excited about that, go ahead and subscribe to the YouTube page. If you go on youtube.com, it's WWPTV. Okay, I made it shorter so you don't have to type the whole name, or you can go to willwitt.com/YouTube. That's all we have. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging in there. I know it's a later show than normal, and I do appreciate you hanging in there. Don't forget, share this to your timeline so people can see what you saw. And again, I apologize for the audio. We'll get that. We'll see about getting that corrected on the YouTube upload. All right. Y'all have a great evening.